Hey, it's Brain Muffin back with some more article reading, and we're going to look at another program. This is a 10-week powerlifting program for dense functional muscle. We've looked at some other ones for men and women, and we had some good feedback. And this one actually I find interesting. I'm actually try this or a variant of this. I kind of do a variant of this, but not to the levels they're talking about. And maybe I should get out of my comfort zone. So this is the first article read 2019, and we're going to try and build some muscle this year. My goal is actually to hit 225. It's 10 pounds. It's only 10 additional pounds, but it's 2 pounds a month. But I want of the right variety. I want to get my body fat down. So this comes to us from muscleandfitness.com. And this is a 10-week, 9 exercises, and you will need equipment. I believe these are 65-pound. I can't quite see, but those look too wide to be 45s. So this is not. I was like, that guy got 45s on there. It's 225, 310. No. The guy this size was not going to need wraps and a belt for 315. Sorry. Anyway, I'm up at like 250 at my squat, and I don't have any of that crap. So, and I'm probably twice this guy's age. So those have to be 65s, and you do the math. All right. So barbell's probably still a 45, probably. So let's see. So when bodybuilders stage, they are competing in a subjective judging environment where opinions are victors. Yeah, but in the powerlifting, basically what you lift is what you do, and there's no they judge that the lift is correct. We're going to skip over that. So powerlifting 101. Powerlifters have a very narrow competitive focus: bench, squat, and deadlift. That is true. As a result, they can individual, and then there's an all round where they add stuff. As a result, their programming is generally free of angled, pumped up, focused accessory work that you see in physique focused plans. Although I will say this, the really big powerlifters, they are huge. The principle of specific adaptations to impose demands said requires that improvements are dictated by programming and a good diet. And as in the specificity of training, the extreme gains in 3 particular lifts, that full body strength begins to thrive. Powerlifters know you get stronger when you get bigger, and you get bigger when you eat more and rest more. IFBB Pro bodybuilder Stan Efferding says, okay, I forgot the verb there. That would be helpful. Who has moonlighted as a competitive powerlifter and posts a 800-pound deadlift. Wow. They exert themselves only when they're lifting heavy objects and avoid wasting energy elsewhere. And long rests. While muscle breakdown and repair is the name of the game for aesthetics first lifting, powerlifters champion recovery and progression above all else because they have to. Powerlifters are taking the slow lane to Strength Street because there is no need to keep the heart rate elevated to maximize fat burning, but see, I like to burn fat. Way to pack in high amounts of volume each week. Powerlifters simply get under heavier and heavier weights week after week, month after month, year after year. Efferding said, while bodybuilders focus on getting as big and lean as possible, those gains are competitive subjective. Yes, they are. Powerlifters live and die by pound or kilograms totals, making each week's training goals more quantifiable. That is true. What is not uncommon for lifters from all walks to add. While it's not uncommon for lifters from all walks to add weight to the bar, powerlifters exercise careful strategies to exact specific strength responses within the low volume, 5 reps or fewer. High intensity, 90% of your 1 rep max construct of the sport. All intensity dramatically changes another workout. Rest, variable. Rest. That is important. That is something that cannot be overemphasized. For strength, I would rest a minimum 5 minutes when I was going my heaviest. Powerlifters typically don't lift over 5 reps in a given set, and you don't want to pump when powerlifting. You want maximum recovery in order to produce a maximum effort. You don't want to build up lactic acid buildups, all that other stuff. I kind of do stuff in between, but let's look at what they're talking about. So the week looks like this. This is not this is pretty atypical. Bench press, mobility work, and squat or deadlift. Now, what's missing? See, well, I say it's not atypical. That seems kind of odd. Because you'd want to do back. You want to do upper body and row. Some back work too. Anyways, muscle math. No need to build up the bar, load the bar to find out your strength training. Use the calculation to determine your workloads for the next 10 weeks. Thanks to researchers from the University of New Mexico, Albuquerque, you can determine your max on the squat and deadlift with a relative accuracy without a risky bro max approach. If you know your 5-rep max to failure, just do the math. Okay, so going to multiply it a little bit. That's kind of odd numbers here. This is pretty interesting. So there's your deadlift. There's your 1-rep max. I have an app that actually will calculate that out for me. So we're going to do, so the week 1rep max, so we're going to do 80%, 5x5, 70%, 4x4. This is kind of, reductionist. That's interesting. That's each week you're doing, so you're going up, okay. You have a deload week. The deload week, very important. Your nervous system will get worn out and you won't make it to 10 weeks. And so it's very interesting that, so that's the weight, that's the 1-rep max. So everything's calculated off of that over the course of several weeks. And you're only doing this lift once a week. Now, mobility work is probably where you're doing stretching, maybe a little bit of cardio kind of thing, get the heart rate up, get all the blood flowing, get all the muscles warmed up. But a lot of it, you can do Pilates, yoga, that kind of stuff, and then rest. And it doesn't say active rest. So this might mean, do actual rest. What I don't know is why they've split this up. It seemed to me you would do like squats, like on a, beginning of the week, midweek, do bench, and the end of week, do deadlift, and have 2 days of rest before you did legs again. But I don't know. So each week the loads become heavier. Yep. Okay, we can see that. This isn't about the pump, of course not. How many more times you're going to say that? Much stronger. Okay, generally a bigger muscle. If getting bigger is your main concern, we're 10 weeks away from significantly higher strength. Okay, so plateau woes. Can't quite manage your target on reps. No worries. Use this tip to continue making gains. Use a spotter. Okay. To reach net, especially when you're getting heavier, be less exact. If you can't complete a lift on the target load, reduce the rate on the next rep or next set. Remember the percentages listed are only targets. So if you end up going, that's fine. Yep. Yeah. And if you have to go down again, that's fine. And just remember that. And maybe the next time you do that progression, you probably be a little bit stronger. Again, that's what the deload is for. And then this is kind of like the first 4 weeks here are getting things going, and you deload, and then you hit it hard. And you can see the percentages go up. And then this is a quasi deload here at week 8. Well, it's not a quasi, it is. It's 50% just like before. Sleep and eating, there's the thing that a lot of people mess up. You've got to have that right. Got to get enough sleep. Quality hours, not just be in bed 8 hours, but dark, quiet room, and keep the under 6 degrees, very important. Nutrition, I use the vertical diet with these top priorities: red meat or for proteins, salt all my meals, potatoes and spinach daily, and egg yolks, Greek yogurt. So you've got some calcium, you have, I forget what all is in the egg yolks. You've got some various fatty acids, not fatty acids, but omega-3 fats, vitamin D3. I take that. White rice to drive carbs as needed. That's going to be for energy. And that's, when you do this kind of thing too, let's say you work out in the evening, or in the morning, you don't have to, go home and down 3 cups of rice. You've got 24 hours to recover. And even if you do it in the morning, you might get a little bit more in you because you got to go through the day, but you don't have to eat 4 cups of, you can spread that out during the day, and maybe a little bit at night, especially if you work out in the morning, you want some later in the day. So, we went through that, and so look up the vertical diet. So exercise 1, so this is the first day. So we're doing bench, regular bench press, close grip bench press, and incline dumbbell bench press. I would swap this out for declines. I really get a significant increase in pec size when I do decline, and I mean at a steep angle, like 40, 50, maybe more than 45 degrees, not 90, but maybe 60 or something like that. So that's just me. And then rest mobility work, which they don't fully define, but again, that's going to be doing your bands. You probably could do some aerobics. You could do basically the idea here is to keep everything loosened up in good shape. Good stretching. There's videos that go back. Gee whiz, I have one from back in, I guess it's the late 80s, early 90s. It's like 3 or 4 workouts on a VHS tape. They're all 20 minutes long, and it's all stretching. which I somewhere, it's in a box somewhere probably. So, and then here you either doing squats or deadlift. So when looks like when it's squat day, you're going to do the barbell squat, box squat, which is you're sitting down on the bench. You'll need dumbbells, although they show someone with a barbell. Probably safer with dumbbells. Some people swear by the box squat. I am still in the department. Romanian deadlift. This is stiff leg deadlift, but this is not a Romanian deadlift. If this was a Romanian, the person's rear end would be up here. Your knees are slightly bent, and you start from a standing position and go down. This is to stretch the hamstrings and keep lower back. And lying leg curl. If you have a seated leg curl, do not do it. It's amazing the difference. If you don't have a lying curl machine, go get it. Start with like a 20 pound, depending on how big your hams are. Lay down on a bench with your knees slightly hanging over, and then put a dumbbell between your feet and then curl that. Or if you have straps or something, and you can do that on a machine cable type thing to pull. Put it low so that when you can get a full stretch at the bottom, but the seated leg curl is completely different, and it's way too easy to cheat. So they're doing chin-ups here. That's interesting, to kind of the upper back, because that's what I'm surprised they don't have here is a push-pull with the upper back, because that upper back is going to really help with your bench press, and it's going to help keeping your so this is interesting. This is almost like a Pendlay row. This person's way too vertical for a barbell deadlift. Their knees are way too straight. This is almost like a Romanian, and this looks more like a regular deadlift. It's kind of like they got the images backwards. It's Muscle and Fitness, so I'm not surprised. And pull-ups, the chin-up, that's with their arms, their hands facing you. The pull-up is with your palms, I shouldn't say your hands, your palms facing you, palms go away. And someone does ask what about mobility work, and I think I answered that question a couple times. But it just going to depends on, be mindful of which joints or which muscles are tensing, and kind of on your mobility days, work on keeping those. And two, if okay, so here we do mobility work, it should be a combination of recovering from bench and getting ready for squats or deadlift, whichever you're doing. So there you go. And I would say you're going to alternate squats and deadlift. But see, this is a pure powerlifting workout. This is why you don't have overhead press and you don't have rows in here. But you would greatly, I would add in here. I would add a cable row, not a Pendlay row, and I would target about 10 reps for 4 sets. I would add it somewhere on this day to get your back muscles to be a little bit stronger. These are going to be to failure. Well, they say 5 reps, 5 sets of 5. But basically, you got to be able, because cables will assist a lot. If you do a Pendlay row and you do it slightly wrong, you're not going to know that your lower back is tweaked until you're doing this. And you start doing squats, you'll notice, and if you do deadlifts, you'll notice, especially if you do them wrong like this person is. So the other thing you could do, if you don't like this, you could do good mornings. So it helps work some of the same things, but not all. Again, this is hamstrings engagement and stuff like that. Or replace it with, here. So you can do a little bit of variety here if things go well. But this is all that you're judged on a powerlifting contest, is those 3 lifts. And so that's why they don't have those in here. But if you were to look at, say, a starting strength workout or something like that in the 5 exercises, well, here's 3 of them. And then the other 2 are a row of some sort, and then an upper back row and overhead lifts. And it's not odd to do an overhead press on the same day that you do deadlifts. And you could even do squats to warm up that thing. And that's one thing you can even do here. You could do as part of your warm-up routine is start doing some squats, maybe 40% or 50% at most, and you're only going to have a couple sets. So there you go. Well, give it a try and see how it works for you, and let us know in the comments below. Thank you very much, and goodbye.